I found that I wanted more control over what was going into the photograph. I didn't want it to be happenstance, that I would be out there and have to find something. I wanted to make something. And so I gravitated to the studio, and this is 30 some odd years ago, because it was a place that I could control what I was taking a photograph of. Not lighting and all that. I could control the visual aspects of the image. Everything in that image was mine. I primarily, actually totally do mostly all figure studies. And that was, there again, important to me because those figures represented a lot of times me. They played my part and in that photograph. It just happened to be, they would usually be a woman or mostly always women. But they could, it's a very theatrical process. So they became my muses, my people that pretended to be me in that photograph. I wanted it to be all mine. Everything that I did was mine, my control, my decision. And it totally different than what my family does or my grandfather's nudes. My grandfather's nudes, much more form, and just beauty. And, there's a simplicity to them that's just stunning. Mine are much more complicated. My dad used to argue, "Oh, Kim, you're too cerebral," And I said, well, that's what I need. That fulfills my vision of my art. And then that's what's so wonderful about living here at Wildcat, is that it is the home of Edward Weston, but it's also Gina and I's home, and our son, Zach. And people, to them, could be Mecca. I mean, when you take people that really love photography, and especially love my grandfather, into his darkroom, I've seen grown men cry. That, they look down at that printing frame and those tools, simple tools, and it's so moving to them to be in the place where Edward made these beautiful images. To have that and to have people be able to visit and open up the house, but I love photography. It's my life, it's my passion. So the door is usually always open. Just as Edward kept a guest book, which is a wonderful document, Gina and I keep a record, especially Gina, because she has to print all the prints, but we have online the people that have visited Wildcat. I mean, from Dennis Hopper to Graham Nash to high school, our local high school students. So to be able to go back and look at our website and see all those people and all the hard work it took Gina to keep that alive and running is great. It's a great part of what our history is here. The partnership between Gina and I came out of really necessity, because I was a carpenter and she was a masseuse, and we were living together here at Wildcat. One day I came to her and asked her if she would run the website. Let's work together at this goal that we want to do. And she said yes. Having Gina take over the responsibility of running the business gives me the opportunity and the luxury, basically, to teach our workshops, meet people, and be creative all at the same time. Keep my work going and keep my love for what I do going. Wildcat Hill here, the house, like it was built for my grandfather by my uncle. I think it cost $1,000. I remember my Uncle Neil saying, it cost $1,000 to build, and that included his labor. Very simple house, as you see. The desk behind me was Edward's. It was a desk that he wrote day books on. And as you go around the room, it's an interesting mix of Gina and I and us living here. I mean, people come and they say, do you actually live here? Because they look at this stuff and they go, yeah, we live here. This is our house, this is our kitchen. They find it hard to grasp that we actually live in this living museum, is what I call it. And that's very important to me. I didn't want it to be a velvet rope, and people could peek in and it's where we live. This is my desk. This is where I write letters, this is where I sit and do my work. It's not a dead thing, it's going on. It's the next generation. And as you look around the room, the different things that we've collected, we're all things that I got from my father that pertain to the house, you know, that belonged in the house. And we kind of keep this end of the house Edward.